Oklahoman Newsroom. This is a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with Joe Masato, Thunder beat writer. Joe, All-Star break is, well, it's still in progress. Thunder doesn't play again until Friday, but the All-Star weekend is now officially behind us. And Thunder didn't have a ton of players involved, but their involvement was pretty significant. Let's start with Chris Paul in the All-Star game. First time in a couple years he was there, but he might have had the play of the night, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul dunked. I mean, that's the big news from the All-Star game.
Yeah.
He hasn't dunked in a game since the 2015-16 season, so definitely has not dunked as a member of the Thunder. And it wasn't just a dunk, it was an alley-oop.
I know.
So very surprising play from Chris Paul. And he had a career-high 23 points as an All-Star. So that was his 10th All-Star game and a career-high in points.
Yeah, a great night for Chris Paul. And he seemed to, I mean, most of the guys out there are enjoying themselves, obviously. It's an All-Star game. But he seemed to really be relishing being there with those guys. And, I think it's kind of cool that a guy that was largely forgotten in the offseason sort of swirl of trades, he's there and had a great weekend.
Yeah, and he's 34 years old, and it wouldn't be surprising if, his last All-Star game was already behind him, and who knows, this might have been his last one, but certainly a memorable one to go out on, and especially playing on Team LeBron. They've been best friends for a very long time. He paid tribute to Kobe after the game, and I think that was special for him. So a very memorable All-Star game for Chris Paul.
And by the way, that alley-oop coming from Russell Westbrook. So it just feels like kismet.
All sorts of Thunder connections.
Like something sort of happened in that moment. Joe, I mentioned not a ton of Thunder players there, but obviously Shai Gilgeous-Alexander involved in the Rising Stars game the first night on Friday night, then in the Skills Challenge on Saturday. No Hamidou Diallo in the dunk contest, but he even let his presence be felt. He said, hey, if I'm in, I win this thing, huh?
Easy win, Hamidou Diallo. So not lacking for confidence after winning the slam dunk contest last year. It was kind of a injury-related thing. You remember he had that hyperextension in his elbow, and that's his right elbow, and you're putting a lot of strain on that if you're in a dunk contest. So probably not the best year to do that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Hamidou Diallo is back in the dunk contest one day. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander didn't fare too well in the Skills Challenge. He seems like he wants to give it another try in the future. So it was a fun weekend to see those guys and to see Hami probably tweeting from his couch that he could have won the dunk contest.
I could have tweeted from my couch the same. It would have probably been a little less believable. But let's get back to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for just a second, because he's sort of the future face of this franchise, at least as it looks right now. He wasn't the biggest name in the Rising Stars game when you've got Luka Doncic and Trae Young, who then play in the All-Star game. I mean, this was a game with some guys that are already sort of elevating to the top of the league. How did Shai sort of, present himself? Did he, he's a name that I think people know, but he's not to that star level yet. What was the weekend like for Shai in your mind?
Yeah, I don't think he stood out too much with what he did on the court, but I think just being there when you're surrounded by the best players in the world, like, you get grouped into that. And even though he wasn't in the All-Star game, he was in the Skills Challenge, the Rising Stars. And just to have that exposure, I bet was probably big for him, because he's not a guy we're seeing in commercials, or he doesn't have a ton of endorsements yet. So a big weekend for him just being there, and it wouldn't be surprised if we saw him back in the actual All-Star game someday.
Absolutely. All right, a quick look ahead. Friday, Denver's in town. Sunday, the Spurs are in town, a team that the Thunder just lost to. Nuggets playing fantastic. Not exactly like the Thunder gets an easy start back into the schedule here.
No, not at all. And, it's an important time. It's the unofficial second start, as we call it. I mean, well over the halfway point, but having two home games, Nuggets Spurs, certainly, at worst, you'd like to split those games and get some momentum heading into the second half of the season. So, yeah, it'll be fun to watch. Get back to basketball.
And there's some easy games. They're not all tough. It's not like every game is a tough one. Bulls out there, as well as Sacramento, but then the Bucks. I mean, there's going to be some tough games on the schedule, of course. They're all going to be tough, but we'll see as the Thunder pushes towards the playoffs how things shake out. So you want to stay with us the whole way. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at Oklahoman.com and every day in the Oklahoman.